As a professional psychic, I've discovered that one of the areas that is so fascinating to people is what is known as the human aura. Now, in the books you'll read about this subject of ESP, psychic things, intuition, you'll see the energy field referred to as the aura. But in days gone by, particularly some of the religions, you'll hear it referred to as a halo. Although it's a little bit not right on, because in the religious pictures it shows the energy around the head of Jesus and the saints and others, when actually the energy is radiating from all parts of the body, but we'll get more into that. So some traditions call it a halo. Well, when the scientific community got a hold of auras and discovered that this is a reality, and we're going to talk more about that, they had to rename it, of course. They had to give it a more scientific name, if you will. And so they refer to it as bioplasmic fields. It sounds more scientific, but a rose by any other name is still a rose, okay? So let's talk a little bit about what an aura is. The aura is the energy that radiates from your body. It is multi-layered, it is multicolored. The tradition says that there are 7 layers to the aura, and I have no reason to doubt that at all, although I usually only see 2 or 3 layers of the aura out. The aura is the sum total of what you are, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. It contains the frequency of all of your past experiences, including, if you play on the game board of past lives, including the frequency of your past lives, and your unconscious energy. What are you unconsciously planning for your future? What have you unconsciously set up for things to happen to you? What did you choose before you came into this lifetime of some of the lessons that you had to learn in this lifetime, or some of the rewards that you were setting up for yourself? So it contains all these frequencies. When people look at auras or tune into auras, or psychics tune into auras, they are not seeing a full picture in the aura, but rather connecting with the frequencies of the aura. This is somewhat an artist's conception of the aura, which is nothing more than a frequency. And the 7th layer of the aura, although I prefer it to go the other way, the aura out the furthest is a very high, fine energy. The next layer of the aura is a little denser, the next layer a little denser, etc., until you get down to the 7th layer of the aura, which is intermingling between the moving molecules of your body. In fact, that's what holds those moving molecules, etc., together. And so it appears to radiate from the body when actually it intersperses with the body, with the physical body. So this layer of energy, this physical layer of energy, is a dense layer of energy. But we know from physics, science, that there's a lot of space between the moving molecules in your physical body, as dense as it is. And so what's holding that together, if you will, is your blueprint. The blueprint of who you are, what you're about, where you've been, where you're going. And so it all has to do with frequencies. Now, these different layers of the aura that radiate from your body, or appear to radiate from your body, depending upon your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health, your spiritual health, will determine how bright the aura is, because the healthier a person is, the wider, the brighter, the more vibrant the aura is. In fact, we say people have charisma. Well, they have a lot of energy in their aura, and we feel it, we sense it, and we can see it. And in fact, in the next segment, it will be how to see auras. So, let's take someone who is very healthy. Their aura is very large, very wide, very bright, much easier to see than someone who is debilitated in some way. Maybe they've been physically ill, and so there's been a drain physically, which of course affects us mentally and emotionally and even spiritually. So it's not as easy to see in the beginning, okay? So when we talk about the aura, we are talking about revealing who you are, where you've been, where you're going, etc. My feeling about the aura is that we can have a mask. You know, we put on a mask and we interact with people depending upon who it is, what that mask consists of, etc. But when we're able to see the aura of a person and see it in great detail, then they can't hide from us. Just like, you know, if you look at someone's palm, it tells you a lot about them. If you do an astrology chart on them, it tells you a lot about them. Well, your aura tells everyone a great deal about you. When there is a change in the aura, there's a change in the physical body, they go together. Let's say that someone had a heart attack 3 years ago, and their heart is okay now, they're okay now. Well, there will be a permanent change in the aura because the energy radiating from a healthy heart is a different energy than one that's radiating from a heart that has had some damage to it. But wherever there's a change, let's say today at lunch, I ate something that upset my stomach a little bit. Well, there's a change in the aura around my stomach. Not permanent, not serious, but there's a change. When I first came into this field, I thought that I didn't see auras because I saw auras around people, I saw energy around people, I saw energy around tables, chairs, lamps, trees, flowers, etc. And so when I started at Rosary Hill College in Buffalo, New York with Sister M. Justice Smith, she said, "Do you see auras?" And I said, "No, I don't." She said, "Well, don't you see colors or don't you see something around people?" And I said, "No, I see energy, like the energy around a light match, etc." And she had me look at her, and I saw this energy, which I didn't think was an aura. So I saw it was energy, no color. And there was a break in it from her neck down to her shoulder. And she said, "Well, that's interesting." She said, "Because I just came back from the chiropractor, I have a problem with my shoulder and my neck." So I began to pay more and more attention to this energy. I thought was my imagination, or there was something wrong with my eyes, or something like that. So what happened with this energy is it reveals what we're feeling emotionally. You know how some people can be smiling and laughing and talking to you, and yet you get a feeling, something doesn't feel right. They look happy, but I feel sadness. Well, if you could see the aura, you would see a grayness over the aura, etc. In the 60s, there was a team, Semyon and Valentina Kirlian, Kirlian. And what happened there was they developed a photographic system where they felt they were photographing the human aura, this energy radiating from the body. And for several years, and I know because I was deeply involved in the whole parapsychological field in the 60s and 70s and beyond, there was a great deal of controversy about this is not a picture of the aura, it's simply how much pressure the person is putting with their finger pad on the negative, etc., or it's the amount of moisture in the air and so on. It's not a picture of the aura. Well, I was at a conference. I was invited to a conference with other psychics. And what happened at that conference is the scientists, there were about 12 of them, were all arguing. Some thought it was a photograph of the human aura, and others felt, no, it wasn't because it's da-da-da-da-da-da-da. The interesting thing is that all the psychics agreed that what they saw in those Kirlian photos was what they saw with their eyes when they looked at someone's aura. So the psychics agreed and the scientists didn't. Why? Because the scientists were doing it with the intellect. They were theorizing, while the psychics could actually see it. So I said, if you want to know, you know, whether it's a photograph of the aura or not, ask the psychics. There's some pictures here of Kirlian photographs, black and white Kirlian photographs. I'd like to show you. What happens is with Kirlian is you put your hand on this film and you put your fingers down on it, and then a photograph is taken. Here in this photograph, this Kirlian photograph, black and white photograph, This is Regina, age 74. She's in excellent mental health. And you can see the vitality. You know, the corona around her finger pads is very complete. There aren't any breaks in it, etc. So this is a finger pad of someone who is in excellent mental health. And I took this from a book, Psychic Healing for Psychological Problems, written by a psychologist who had done this research. Then, another one that shows a dramatic difference. The top one is a man by the name of Sanford, age 31, seriously emotionally disturbed. This individual was filled with anger, a sense of defeat, distrust at everyone, and was filled with self-pity. And you can see how the corona is actually missing in the lower part of his finger. Remember, his finger pad is like this, so down here it's missing. There's a few little sporadic pieces of energy, but even the energy up here is erratic and isn't full and complete. And as a contrast, below it, this is Jonas, age 45, psychologically normal. Emotionally balanced man, psychologically normal. Now look at the vitality around those finger pads here. In segment 1, remember I showed you how I have people feel energy from each other's hands? Well, this is what they're feeling. This is the aura. They're feeling the aura, etc. Another contrast, the one at the top, is Marion Freeman, a healthy woman of 39. She recently lost her husband, was obliged to find employment outside her home for the first time in her life. She was deeply grieved and depressed, as in any normal person at the loss of a loved one. The curling would indicate she is still mentally intact. Look at how good that looks. The corona is complete for both fingers, left and right, indicating that both sides of the brain are healthy. The emanation shows good, strong energy. Now, down here, in this bottom one, very different. This is Hattie, emotionally disturbed woman of 42. This woman, too, has lost her husband and had to go to work. But she would appear to be in no condition to take over her own life. The picture of her right hand finger, illustrating the condition of the left hemisphere, brain hemisphere, is shattered. The corona is only half present. Perhaps she was able to function all right while she was dependent on her husband, because what emanations she has are full. Her psychological evaluation indicated the need for a great deal of treatment in rehabilitation. And so you can see how what you're feeling physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually is indicated in your aura. Now here we have another interesting set of Curlians. This one at the top, as you can see, you can barely see. This is Lewis, age 23. I like this. A moderately advanced, moderately active schizophrenic. Very little energy. What is there is sporadic. And so if you were standing by Lewis, you would feel that energy being irregular, etc. If you were looking at it, you would see it being very erratic. In this figure, this is Lewis Naller's fiancée, age 21. She has the same diagnosis but less severe, and you can see the difference. She is not, she is a schizophrenic, but is in better shape than her fiancé. Then, as a contrast, here we have Florence Whalen, age 28, an emotionally stable woman who came for premarital counseling. She's handled her life well and was reasonably stable in her outlook. The right hand seems to be showing stress. You see the holes, we call it, in the aura here. And she seems to be intact and functioning beautifully. So the aura is our blueprint. It reveals who we are, where we've been, where we're going. In the next segment, we'll be working with the technique, or playing really, with the technique of how to see the aura.